Horton swinging away and socks this to deep left field. That is gone! Bryson Horton.
That one's intercepted at the 50-yard line. Wow. 1 man to beat. He's up to the 30, 35. He's going to run it all the way himself into the end zone for a touchdown.
Sierra Smith quickly worked around, feeding the hot hand. Jasmine got it! 3 threes for number 23.
Who finds Edwards? Edwards needs to get the shot up. Pulls up a deep three. Able to knock it down!
The counter-attack. Here comes Carla Ramos forward looking for Noelle Lemus. She's gotten by the last defender. Valentine comes out. Noelle dribbles the keeper. Lemus! And that is a DVC victory. The Vikings are champions of California! Welcome, faithful followers of the Green and White, to DVC Vikings Live Radio on Mixler.com and the Mixler Live app. This is Joe Hickey coming to you from the Ventura College Sportsplex, home of the 2019 CCCAA Basketball State Championships. Tonight, we're bringing you the first of 2 games to determine the combatants in tomorrow's California State Championship game. And we're keeping this one in the family. It's an all Big 8 semifinal as the number 1 seed DVC Vikings battle the number 3 Mustangs of San Joaquin Delta. Tonight, the crowd may not have quite the spice that it did last night when DVC outlasted the host school 59-57 to advance here, but I have a feeling that the teams involved will make up for that and then some. Familiarity breeds contempt, and these 2 clubs, they're pretty familiar. DVC clinched the Big 8 title for all intents and purposes with a massive Valentine's Day win in Pleasant Hill the last time the Vikings and Mustangs met, as Daisha Abdelkader stepped up to the starring role after NorCal Player of the Year Zaria Hendricks fouled out with 6 minutes left in the game and the Vikings down 2. Dynamic Daisha scored a career-high 29 points, 14 in the fourth quarter, and 7 of them coming after Zaria's early exit. Last night, against Ventura College, Zebo got into early foul trouble again, picking up 3 before the end of the first quarter. This time it was Sierra Smith putting up 10 of her 22 in the third quarter as Coach Ramondo Vaughn's women weathered the Ventura storm. The benefit for tonight's matchup, though, is that DVC will actually have a somewhat rested version of Hendricks after she sat out the entire second quarter with Jasmine Kong and a very secure Amani McCrary holding down the fort. While the Vikings have been saved by Leilani Moncrief's sure shooting these first 3 rounds and by second-half eruptions from Abdelkader and Smith in the last 2 outings, they haven't gotten the kind of complete game out of Hendricks yet that her NorCal Player of the Year honorific would suggest. But we have seen flashes, and she's been decisive when necessary, picking up a few big buckets down the stretch last night and icing Sac City in the Sweet 16. On the other side, Delta have to have been of 2 minds watching last night's game between the Vikings and the Pirates. On the one hand, who wants to deal with this home crowd whipped into that kind of frenzy? But on the other, why on earth would they want to take on DVC again? Well, one possibility, revenge. Coach Gina Johnson's Mustangs have lost just twice since December 2nd, and both of those defeats have come at the hands of the Green and White. Those 2 results proved the difference in the Big 8 title race, but there is no tonic for that like advancing to a state final at the expense of your conference mates. Delta will try to exert their will physically and dominate the boards the way they have in the first 2 meetings, as is essentially how they can compensate for DVC's penchant for forcing turnovers. When Sankia Braxton and Donwane Anthony led that unit to a plus 12 advantage on the boards in Stockton, DVC ran away with the game by 18. But when they won the rebounding battle by 21 in Pleasant Hill, the game was much tighter, just a 5-point Viking victory. Last night, they certainly took care of business at that end, grabbing 28 of Delta's 55 boards between them. And after a 12-2 run to close the second quarter with a 10-point halftime lead, LA Trade Tech never really threatened them again. It'll be Leilani Moncrief's job to try to neutralize one of the big girls, and team rebounding the tonic to try to restrict the other. If DVC can get their extra possessions from the turnover battle, as they have in both prior meetings, then they don't need to win at the boards. They just need to avoid becoming roadkill. Is tonight the night Zaria Hendricks breaks out and the Vikings break through to a first-ever state final? Will another member of the DVC family step up to make sweet music instead? Or will the Mustangs out-muscle their familiar foes and punch their ticket to the title game for the first time since 2009? Answers are forthcoming, Vikings fans. Lineups and tip-off of Delta DVC for a chance at a championship is coming up next on DVC Vikings Live Radio. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Ventura, ladies and gentlemen, Vikings fans. We are just about ready for tip-off. Delta have taken the floor. DVC have just broken their huddle. Here are your starting lineups for the Vikings. It should feel very, very familiar. Daisha Abdelkader running the point. Leilani Moncrief patrolling the paint. Zaria Hendricks, Sierra Smith, and Janae Anderson spreading out to long bomb from wherever they possibly can. That's your starting five for the Vikings. For San Joaquin Delta, Donwane Anthony and Sankia Braxton, we talked about in the open. They are your two bits of meat down low. They're going to be banging bodies with Moncrief and anybody else who tries to get in their way. Lauren Rabena, Peyton Demps, and Kendall Weary, the other three starters. The tip-off secured by DVC. Daisha Abdelkader with it. They will be attacking from right to left across your radio dial or your Mixler scroll bar. Ball in the hands of Sierra Smith, who had a huge game last night in the quarterfinal, trying to take Kendall Weary on the dribble. Drives to the right side, wanted to dump it down to Leilani Moncrief, but it's a bit off target. And that'll go back to San Joaquin Delta. They'll get their first possession. Delta more than willing to run with the Vikings. They have put up scores in the realm of 65, 70-some points in their two matchups so far. The Vikings looking to work the press on them, though. They break it through Donwane Anthony. Nice pass by Rabena. Now Anthony's going to try to take it to the right side. Jump stop. Now shoots from the right baseline and can't get it to go. A little too strong. Moncrief, the rebound. Sierra Smith, touchdown pass to Abdelkader at the right side of the arc. She drives. Now kicks out to Moncrief. She steps just inside the arc. Shoots the jumper. Little long. Zaria Hendricks, the rebound, as it bounces out to no one else in particular. Hendricks now driving from the left, kicks to Moncrief, baseline jumper, just a little short, 0 for 2 in the early going for Leilani. She's been shooting 51% on the postseason, 54% on the season, number 10 in the state in field goal percentage. Lauren Rabena trying to find Peyton Demps, has it touched away from her hands by Abdelkader. Now it's Braxton, step back from the left elbow, she hits, and the scoreboard, it works, 2-0, Delta on top. Abdelkader across the timeline. Finds Zaria Hendricks on the left side. She drives now into the center of the paint, lays it up off glass, and the NorCal Player of the Year gets on the board early. 2 points for Zebo. Long bomb forward here for Kendall Weary. She looks to take on Janae Anderson, swipes at it, trying to take the ball away. Now dumps it down to the right baseline for Anthony. Turns around Moncrief, now gets trapped against the baseline, finds a streaking Sankia Braxton, and she blows the layup with the left hand. Hendricks the rebound, and a weird little stumble by Braxton. I hope she's okay. Leilani Moncrief fed in the meanwhile by Zaria Hendricks with the space left open. And DVC have their first lead at 4-2. Peyton Demps receives, nearly runs it over and back. Lauren Rabena with the ball, doesn't see Sierra Smith come from behind. She pokes it away. DVC get their first turnover. Here comes Zaria Hendricks, forward to Leilani. Laid up off glass. Moncrief's good. 6-2 DVC. Leilani's got 4, Zaria 2. The Vikings are off to exactly the start they want right now. Now, we've talked a little bit about how the three-point shooting that we've gotten so used to, that we've taken borderline for granted, if we're being honest, has just not been there for DVC here in the postseason. 24.1% from behind the arc. They've only been shooting 34% from the field, period. Both of those well down from their season averages. For San Joaquin Delta, not so different. They're at 38.2% from the field. That is substantially lower than where they had landed throughout the majority of this season. They've been shooting, where is it? I know I have it on my sheet. There it is, 42% on the season. So that's about 4% lower. They're shooting 28% from 3, also a bit lower, and 63% from the line. So, nerves, better adversaries, what have you. It's certainly made life difficult for both of these teams in the postseason. So they're looking for other ways to win. Zaria Hendricks picks off the pass. Now she'll pull up for the three-pointer. Wide open from the right side. Z for 3. 9-2 DVC. We'll take that as a start. 5 for Zaria. 4 for Leilani. Zaria commits her first foul. Nope, we've got an offensive foul, but prior to that, as Leilani Moncrief set up and absorbed contact from, I think, Trina Rathjen. See, I believe that was her. No, excuse me, it's number 3, Monette Brown, who had just come in. So we've got Brown and Rathjen into the game right now, and it looks like Sankia Braxton is off, as is Kendall Weary. Weary in particular has had a rough go of it in the postseason so far. Rathjen, meanwhile, we'll talk a little bit about the game she had. Abdelkader dribbling to the left side, kicks out, deep 3, Zaria Hendricks! And she's got it! 12-2 DVC. An opening flurry from the Vikings, landing a couple of haymakers. Donwane Anthony coming up the court here after the Mustangs break the press. Drop back to Brown. Cross-court pass to the left side. Demps can't get a handle on it. She dribbles it on the sideline just in front of DVC trainer Wendy Holt. That'll be a turnover going over the Vikings' way. So thus far with this 12-3 advantage, it's 5-1 the advantage already on turnovers. DVC have picked up 8 points off of them. Sierra Smith over to Zebo. She's going to try for three again. She's feeling him. That one's front iron. Two Mustangs fight for the board and lose it to Moncrief. Back to Zaria, finds Janae, straight on three, no good. Zaria's got it, keeps the rebound, finds Janae again, top of the key, just inside the arc, dribbles to the right side, handoff to Daisha Abdelkader, crossover, beats Rabena, drives, up with the left hand, just a little bit too short as she tried to kiss it off glass. Here come the Mustangs the other way, trailing by three. Another errant pass, Rabena nearly turning it over. And here comes another one. Brown throws that almost to the backcourt. Recovered by Peyton Demps. How on earth have there only been 12 seconds of the shot clock gone? We've almost seen 2 turnovers. Rabena takes the handoff from Demps. Working on Abdelkader. Picked off by Domine Anthony. Now she tries to throw it back to Anthony in the post. Hits Zaria Hendricks in the knee. 6 seconds to shoot. Demps on it. Janae Anderson moving her feet beautifully to try and hold her there. Demps drops back. Picked off by Sierra Smith before the shot clock can go off. Sierra driving. Up off glass. No good. One-on-one with Monet Brown. Can't finish the turnover and turn it into points. But that's 6 already committed by San Joaquin Delta. The game is 4 minutes old. Leilani Moncrief blocks Trina Rathjen. She looked like she walked as she recovered that. I thought she dragged her pivot foot. Nothing given, though. Domine Anthony tries the lay-in. No good. Leilani Moncrief the board. Leilani with that block. She's good for 2 of them per game over the course of the season. 2.5 in the postseason. Zaria Hendricks weaving through adversaries. Unable to finish at the hoop. Moncrief the board. She absorbs contact and she's headed to the line. 12-2. DVC on top in the early going. And Leilani will head to the line. She's a 61% free throw shooter on the season. But here in the playoffs, she's looked substantially better. She's had a couple of really important trips late in games where she's managed to nail both of them. And so ice water flowing in the veins of the sophomore out of Moreau Catholic and Hayward. Commentators, her side below it for her there. She misses her first. Hate when I do that. Sankia Braxton back into the game, and Kiara Watkins checking in for the first time for Delta. Jasmine Kong, meanwhile, in for Hendricks, as she'll take a blow right now. She's been exerting herself quite hard. Of course, with the short roster that the Vikings have, they've got to manage those minutes very carefully. Moncrief's back iron on the second free throw, unable to hit. Sierra Smith battled for the board, but loses out to Sankia Braxton. Rabena, top of the key. Trying to dump over to Braxton at the right elbow. A little trouble getting the handle on it. She looks to take Moncrief on the dribble. Now dribble straight into Anderson. But that leaves Rathjen wide opening. The help defense from Janae. Leaving Trina Rathjen open for that easy lay-in. She had 14 points and 8 boards off the bench yesterday and really seemed a spark of attitude for this team. Jasmine Kong taking her first shot. Draws contact from Kiara Watkins. She'll go to the line. Kong with 8 points so far in the postseason. Got her first field goal make in yesterday's game before having to come off with 3 fouls early on. She has made 6 free throws of her 8. She's at the line shooting 2. Gets the first, and Jasmine's on the board. Kong, as it works out, shooting 62% on the season. But again, somebody who's improved remarkably over the course of the year. She hits both of those, makes the DVC lead 10 yet again. 14-4, not quite 5 minutes into this encounter. Sankia Braxton trying to take Leilani Moncrief on the dribble. Step back jumper, I meant to say. Well off target, rebounded by Smith. Here comes Kong with a head full of steam. 5 defenders around her, kicks out to Anderson. Straight on 3 for Janae, number 156 on the season. She is 2 away from 4th place all time. Lauren Rabena trying to take Abdelkader on the dribble. Looks to throw a layup off glass from the left baseline. No good. Abdelkader the board. Daisha. Oh, nice little spin move to lose somebody. 3 people collapse to her. She finds Moncrief, and she feathers that one in. Nice high arcer. Kisses every bit of the rim. Get your money's worth. 19-4 DVC. 4:25 in the first quarter. Here's Rabena at the top of the key. Trina Rathjen looking to box out Janae Anderson. Rabena down low for Braxton, working again on Janae. Big size disadvantage for Anderson, but she gets a hand to it, and it's tied up by Sierra Smith. That ball will stay right here with 11 to shoot. But the Vikings up 15 in the early going. 5-1 the turnover battle at the moment. And actually, the total rebounds not too shabby. 8-5. 8-5. DVC winning the rebounding battle. Who would have expected that? Substitution, meanwhile, Kiara Watkins comes out. Trying to see who just checked in. That must be Kendall Weary again, the 35. So it's her, Dominique Anthony. Demps back in as well. Rathjen stays on the floor, though. Braxton back out. There's an attempt to lay in by Dominique Anthony. No good. Another tie-up as Hendricks gets the board. This time the arrow will go to DVC, and they'll flip it right back. 4:07 left, 19-4. Daisha Abdelkader bringing the ball up the floor here. 1-on-2. They collapse to her and do enough to get her off balance. She throws it into the middle of the paint, picked off there by Trina Rathjen. Here comes Rabena, trying to fake out Anderson with a drive and a step back. She doesn't bite on it. Now out to Trina Rathjen. Foul committed by Daisha Abdelkader, and that will be the first team foul for DVC here. 6 minutes and 12 seconds into the first quarter. Anthony, Rathjen, Rabena, Weary, and Demps on the floor right now for San Joaquin Delta. For DVC, it's the starting lineup, but with Kong in place of Hendricks. Rathjen nearly loses the handle as she drives from the left corner. Doesn't hit on the first attempt. Gets her own board. No good again. Dominique Anthony, third time's the charm. She lays that one in. 19-6. Here comes Sierra Smith. DVC looking to run. Kicks to Daisha Abdelkader. Open three for number 3. Daisha. 22-6 Vikings. Lauren Rabena over to the right corner now for Peyton Demps, and that one's picked off, and here they go to run again. Jasmine Kong, and they're going to stop the breakaway, apparently because Sierra Smith fouled Peyton Demps. There was a coming together between Kong, Smith, and Demps. They've given a foul to Sierra. To get a look at that right here, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if they have another replay. I looked at probably not quite the right moment over here at the monitor provided by SoCal College Sports. For those of you that just can't get enough of me talking about basketball, by the way, make sure you tune into that live stream at halftime. I'll be joining the hosts Mike Cepeda and Jeff Stoyanov in their comments. Kendall Weary now over to Monet Brown after a touch from Rabena. She goes right back to Rabena. She tries a three. That one rattles out. Daisha Abdelkader the board, and the Vikings have numbers as Monette Brown falls down behind the play. Here comes Abdelkader. No numbers now. 1-on-4. She kicks to Kong in the corner. No good. Sankia Braxton brings down the board. Forward to Trina Rathjen. She'll come to a stop, and she manages to find Monette Brown on the right side. Her three is off target. Excuse me, that was Weary, rather. Monette Brown gets the board against Jasmine Kong. Here's Rathjen trying to drive. Pinned to her side by Janae Anderson. Sierra Smith comes away with the board, and Zaria Hendricks is out running. She's got an open three if she wants it, but she's going to drive with the left hand. Up and in and under the arrival of Sankia Braxton. 24-6. Here comes Delta, trying to find an answer. A first quarter dominated by DVC. Lauren Rabena, three-pointer from the right side. No good. Touched by Monette Brown. She'll get to it. Lays it off glass as she drifts under the hoop from the right side. She'll put that one in. 24-8. Here's Sierra Smith coming forward with it. She beats a defender off the dribble. Drives up with the right-hand floater. And another timeout coming. Looks like it'll be a full timeout called by Gina Johnson. My word, DVC fans, 26-8, a little under 2 minutes to go. We mentioned Janae Anderson with number 156 of her season. Trails now Sierra Green and Rebecca May. That's an NJCAA Division II player from Monroe last year. Sierra Green, who made 158 three-pointers on 432 shots. Rebecca May on 356 shots made 159 back in 2005-2006 at Berea. That's an NAIA school. That is the second place record there. And the top total in the NAIA among people that didn't take an absolutely stupid number of attempts. The rest of the leaderboard, which I don't know that Janae is going to have much of a crack at, is Martina Underwood at 173. That's the national junior college record. And that was on just 277 shots. That might be the single greatest shooting season I've ever heard of, unless it's a typo. And then you look at Stacey Williams and your eyes kind of pop out of your head. She's got the all-time record. She was at Oral Roberts, an NAIA school at that time, in 1989-90. She hit 194 threes on an absolutely preposterous 697 attempts. Just to break that down for you, given the length of the seasons, that's about 20 attempts from three per game. Just obscene. I don't know what that team was like, but I can't imagine that it was all that much fun to watch, because she actually shot only about 28% from three-point land, but was allowed to take all of those. So that's what Janae is stalking. She's not going to get to number one. It would take quite an explosion for her to get to the JUCO record. But she's certainly got the best total in 25 years in her sights. She is 3 away. We're back underway here. Kendall Weary receives, tries to go between Moncrief and Kong. They have given the foul. At first it looked like when she fell to the ground they were just going to let it go. Second DVC team foul. We'll see if that's on Kong or on Moncrief. Third DVC team foul. And that is on Kong. Meanwhile, Peyton Demps enters the game for Delta. They've got Rathjen, Braxton, Alexa Brand, and Lauren Rabina in. Brand seeing her first action right now. Brand receives over at the left side, fakes out Amani McCrary, who's coming for DVC, finds Rabina for an open three, and she hits that. First three-pointer hit so far tonight for San Joaquin Delta. That makes it 26-11. Here comes Zaria Hendricks driving, drawing two defenders. McCrary for three! Amani! How about that? First points of the postseason. She gave the Vikings some huge minutes down the stretch. Down the stretch of the first half, if you will, against Ventura last night. Sankia Braxton, meanwhile, dragged down. As Leilani Moncrief picking up her first foul. That's the fourth team foul on DVC. They had none through the first 6 minutes. They are now one away from putting Delta in the bonus with 1:10 to go. But McCrary just had a fantastic go of it. Didn't score. Inbound to Braxton. She peeled off of Moncrief nicely. Can't hit the open jumper, though. Leilani's got the board. Here comes Abdelkader. We were saying, though, Amani came in to try to stabilize the ship, did not turn the ball over, had a few assists, few rebounds, and she is fed again for three. Amani firing off target. Looked online from where I'm sitting, but it was about 3 feet short. Rebound Braxton, here comes Rabina. DVC up 29-11, final minute of the first quarter. Braxton dumps underneath for Rathjen. Zaria gets her busy hands in the way. Here comes Zebo. Zebo, amongst three defenders, lays it off glass. No good. Moncrief nearly skies for the board. Sankia Braxton's got it. She tries for the touchdown pass. Jasmine Kong gets a touch to it. They're going to give it the way of San Joaquin Delta. Coach Vaughn seems to disagree. I didn't see Rathjen get a touch to it. She kind of defended that afterwards. Demps, rather, is the one they tossed it deep for. And she almost did a move that I recognize from soccer, just trying to wall off Kong from chasing her own deflection. 32.7 seconds to go, 25 to shoot, 7-second difference between shot and game clock. Little math lesson for you here at a community college game. Here's Alexa Brand. She fires off the Monet Brown assist, and she hits. Alexa Brand, a 30% three-point shooter in sparing bits of play. She averages 4.5 points per game, and there's 2/3 of that right there. McCrary fed again by Abdelkader. Thought about the three, then thought about the pass to Hendricks. Instead, dribbles, gives it to Daisha. Crossover, beats her defender, up under the hoop. Can't get that one over. Moncrief pokes it away, though. Zaria Hendricks has it. 5 seconds left in the quarter. Zebo, somebody's got to talk to her. Finds Amani McCrary, gets it out of her hand before the buzzer. No good. We'll take it. 29-14, your score through 10 minutes of tonight's action. And that certainly resembles the first meetup between these two teams. On January 15th in Stockton, DVC shot the lights out. 44% from the field, 45% from three. They lost the rebound battle by 12, but they won the turnover battle by 10. And we talked about it in the opening. There's just not enough quality in the shooters for San Joaquin Delta for them to survive that. They need to win the rebounding battle by substantially more than DVC win the turnover battle to really have much of a chance. Right now, if I'm remembering correctly, they are winning neither. Looking to find my live stats here, making sure the thing behaves. Computers are just not always so trustworthy. Let's see what we can find here. No, it's misbehaving again. There we go. So it is a 9-3 advantage for DVC on turnovers. Amazingly, 13-11 the advantage for San Joaquin Delta right now on rebounds. We said earlier in the quarter that the Vikings were actually winning that battle through about 7 minutes. So that'll do. When you're going up against the 14th in the state rebounder, Sankia Braxton, 11.9 per game. Moncrief, no slouch. She's 17th in rebounds, 10.8 per game. But that is one of the battles we needed to look for. And so far, that is absolutely being won by Leilani. Taking a look real quick at the individual statistics here for DVC, if my computer will update them. Behave, dang it. Here we go. Zaria Hendricks, 10 points. Leilani Moncrief with 6 and 5 boards. 3 for Abdelkader and for McCrary and for Janae Anderson. 2 each for Smith and Kong. DVC getting contributions from all over, including one place where they frequently have not this season. We talked about Amani's story in yesterday's game. We'll get to it in just a moment here as Monette Brown is trying to drive on the left side. Terminates her dribble, kicks out to Demps. Nothing to do there. Abdelkader on her. She tries to go between Abdelkader and Smith is going to get the steal. Here comes Sierra down the right side. 10th Mustang turnover here as we open the second quarter. Goes the great circle route around a few defenders. Finds Moncrief under the hoop, and she can't hit. Zaria Hendricks nearly gets the board. Moncrief and Rathjen coming together. Pair of number 11s. It is Rathjen that settles it. 30 seconds gone in the quarter, 29-14. Here comes Dawnway Anthony. Leilani Moncrief, strong defending. She ends up tapping it out of bounds. And so it'll stay right here, 22 seconds to shoot, but moved her feet very, very well, stayed in front of Anthony. The 22nd ranked field goal percentage shooter in the state, denied at the rim. Quickly around the perimeter, Monette Brown, now Peyton Demps, dumped inside for Anthony. She spins around Moncrief, lays it up off back iron, no good. Ball rattling around, Anthony trying to get the board, she does. Kicks back to Demps, open three from the left side, and Peyton Demps is going to make it 17. Sierra Smith working up the floor. That's going to make Peyton Demps the leading scorer right now for Delta. Zaria Hendricks weaving, driving, and drawing contact. Zebo headed to the line. First foul of the quarter here as Hendricks did well to get around Brand and shot the gap between Anthony and Demps, and I believe it is Dawnway Anthony picking up her second foul. So Zaria will take this. We got 3 points each from Brand, Rabina, and Demps. Braxton, Brown, Rathjen, and Dawnway Anthony each with 2. There has not been yet a single Delta player to make multiple field goals. Zaria hits the first freebie. Not her specialty. Zaria shoots 50% on the season. She's actually the lowest ranked free throw shooter on her own team, despite being acknowledged by her peers and coaches throughout the area as the best player NorCal has to offer. Everybody's got a weakness. She hits them both this trip down. Just shows you everybody's got room for improvement. Monette Brown working her way forward now. Quick kick to Demps. Now she goes cross court to a Brand in the left corner. Runs into the pick that came from Rathjen herself. Back to Brown. Now Brand again, well behind the arc. Tries to take Smith on the dribble. Tosses to Demps, 15 to shoot. Finds Rathjen, and I think she walked as she tried to pick up her feet and drive the right baseline, and indeed she did. Have agreement here from our team of referees, Gabby Hernandez, Dina Butler, and Darlin Hargrove. All-female crew for the first women's state semifinal. Abdelkader hits the deck, but she gets it to Sierra Smith before that. Smith trying to drive from the right elbow, absorbs contact from Monette Brown. That'll be the third team foul against Delta. Oh, my mistake, team foul number 2. Scoreboard operator was just so quick at getting it up on the board, I thought there was going to be another click coming. Inbound to Sierra Smith. Leilani Moncrief fed down low, but bit off target for her, not able to quite corral it. Braxton now over to Brown. Three-pointer for Peyton Demps, off target wide right. Rathjen gets the board, tries to throw it back in under the hoop. It's on the floor now. Braxton comes away with it for a moment. Now spinning Sierra Smith. Somehow found her own teammate for a moment, Abdelkader. She's in there working against Alexa Brand, and she will end up with a tie-up. And that's going to go DVC's way as Delta had started the second quarter with the ball, thus flipping the possession arrow. Good hard work down on the floor. Vikings up 14, 8-10 to go in the first half. Really is the name of the game right now. The Vikings shots for the most part are They're shooting 45.8% right now for the game, 11 of 24, and they've hit half of their 10 three-point attempts. Here comes Abdelkader, swatted away with great prejudice by Trina Rathjen. Vikings will still have 13 to shoot, and the ball stays right here as a courtside fan flips it to Gabby Hernandez. Janae Anderson getting ready to put this one in. It's Anderson, Smith, Abdelkader, Moncrief, and Hendricks, the starters on the floor for DVC. Rabina, Watkins, Braxton, Rathjen, and Brand on the floor right now for San Joaquin Delta. Here's Hendricks on Brand. Drives around her, lays up with the right hand. Too strong. Rebound, Moncrief, too strong on the putback attempt. Batted around, and it's going to be last touched by Hendricks, according to Gabby Hernandez. And Coach Vaughn yelling to somebody. I couldn't tell if that was two aimed at the referee for missed calls or two aimed at Moncrief and Hendricks for just missing bunnies. Either way, Delta have the ball right now. 2.5 minutes gone in quarter number 2. Braxton trying to drive to the left side of Leilani Moncrief. He's got a good step, dropped the shoulder, lays it in off the left side of glass. 31-19. Daisha Abdelkader with the ball now. Taking on Rathjen, drives, kicks down low to Moncrief. She puts her butt out right there. No foul given for the interference from Watkins. Moncrief is very frustrated. Coach Vaughn wants a timeout. And it does seem that Vaughn is trying to say, like, you have to move towards the basket for them to give you that call. They're not going to give it if you let the person bounce off of you and just stay there. So he just wants to see a little more aggression out of Leilani. She's done some good work so far, but the Vikings now 11 of 27, so just like that, the shooting back down to 40.7% from those lofty ones at the beginning. We'll take this moment here to do our trivia question, because the Vikings are headed right now, if they can hold on. Obviously, it's a little late to talk about conserving a lead, but if they can win this game tonight, they would be headed to a state title game for the first time. San Joaquin Delta, for their record, have been in the title game a handful of times in their history. Looking for the sheet I have that talks about that. Just hiding stuff from myself left and right. They lost the title game in 2006 and in 2009, and they've made the Final Four three other times this century, 2002 and 14 and 15. Since then, though, it's been a pair of Sweet 16 exits and a loss in the first round last year. It's interesting to note that you're going to see a first-time champion coming out of the women's side here, as Merced and Moorpark, neither of them have ever won a title either. It's actually interesting that Delta, if you really take a look at it, despite being the lowest seed remaining, might very well be the most storied program still alive. DVC have been very good for the last 6 years, and if you just judged it on that, you'd say that they're the top program here. Merced, though, have had the higher highs. They made the title game last year, losing to Mount San Jacinto there as the 5 seed. And so a bit of an unexpected run that they have now, with that sophomore class, come back and consolidated. We're back underway here, by the way. Rabina and Brand working with the ball at the top of the key. It's now Sankia Braxton trying to work on Zaria Hendricks. Looks to go for the drop step. Now dribbling, spinning to her left. Jumper is off back iron. Sierra Smith the board. Moorpark, meanwhile, has only made the playoffs 11 of the last 20 years, and this is their high water mark already. Here's Zaria Hendricks driving to the left side, elects not to try a shot. Janae Anderson receives. Anderson, great circle route to the right elbow, comes to a stop, drops it back to Smith, thinks about the three, still got 13 to shoot. Nope, she's going to dribble drive, penetrate, finds Hendricks on the left side for a three. Wide to the right just a little bit. Rabina recovers the board. Pushed ahead now for Kiara Watkins. She'll tee up a three-pointer from over there and misses everything. Zaria Hendricks the board, or the catch, if you will. 6:17 to go. Vikings up 12. Hendricks over on the left side. We'll get to the trivia question later. I got caught up in a different line of thought. Leilani Moncrief, left side on the baseline, a little strong on her jumper. Can't get it to fall after the feed from Sierra Smith. Here comes Rabina down the other end, working over to the left baseline. Met with the resistance of Daisha Abdelkader there. Dribbles back, shoots, pretty strong. Sierra Smith the board. Here comes Smith, quickly ahead. Moncrief has a path to the cup. She tries to lay that one up. And this time they are, I think, going to give the foul for Sankia Braxton, whacking Moncrief in the head. And you can see the body language and the and the side eye all the way from up here from Leilani Moncrief. We'll see this on the replay. And indeed, they have judged a whack to the head. Both Braxton and Moncrief frustrated by that call. I'm not sure I saw the contact. It does put Moncrief to the line. She gets her first, feathers it in. Vikings 5 of 7 so far from the line. Leilani's got 7. Zaria still on 12 to lead all shooters. She's made a pair of three-pointers, a pair of free throws, and a pair of two-point field goals. So she's doing a little of everything. Braxton, the only Mustang to make a second field goal, as Leilani misses the second. She's 3 for 4 from the line so far tonight. Oh, excuse me, 2 for 4, I should say. Actually, my mistake, 1 for 4. That's right, I cursed her real good on that first one, I forgot. Corner 3 from Peyton Demps, no good. Rebound claimed by Braxton. Back out to Demps. She drives now to the left side, dumps down low for Rathjen. She goes for it. Leilani Moncrief commits the foul. That'll be her second. It'll send Rathjen to the line. Trina Rathjen, 76% shooter from the line, behind only her teammates Kiara Watkins and Alexa Brand. Neither Brand nor Watkins, though, take enough of them to actually show up in the leaderboard. So it is Rathjen in the state rankings from the line. 22nd in free throw percentage. She's also 46th in field goal percentage, hitting 47% of her shots. She gets the first. Here comes the second. Yep, makes them both. Wasn't able to curse her with the old commentator curse. Sierra Smith bringing up the floor for the Vikings. They still lead by 11. 32-21, 5:22 to go in half number 1. Looks to drive on the left side. Both defenders go to her. Kong's wide open if she can find her. Not able to. A battle on the floor between Kong and Demps. Ball falls to Rathjen. Here's Rabina up ahead now for Brand. Steps into a three-pointer and drills it. And Delta maybe the least expected way that they would get back into this, and now they're really trying to play DVC's cards by picking off a pass and getting a turnover. Here's Demps for three from the left side, and she hits. 32-27, just like that, an 11-point lead becomes a 5-point lead. The Vikings leave their feet off the gas pedal for just a moment, and you really can't do that with San Joaquin Delta. All right, we'll go ahead and try that trivia question right now. So I asked it yesterday, but I didn't have a ton of listeners. I think most people were going to the live stream. Here is the trivia question for tonight, which you'll recognize. Please don't comment anywhere if you already heard the answer last time around. But the question is this. DVC women's basketball are aiming to make the state title game for the first time in their history. What is the last DVC program that navigated a bracket to a title game for state supremacy? What was the last DVC program that pulled off that feat? I will go ahead and ruin one of the possible answers because it came up yesterday, and that's men's cross country. They did go to the state final meet this past year, but there are about 20 people invited. In a lot of ways, going to that is much more like making the playoffs and then getting a chance at a title than it is navigating that whole process to get to a state final. So we're asking for that answer, Vikings fans. If you think you know, you can comment on the Mixler chat if you're looking at this on the app, or you can tweet me at Joe Paul Hick, and I'll be keeping an eye on Twitter at halftime. I'll give you the answer at the break between the third and fourth quarters. We're back underway here, 4:50 to go in the half. Vikings trying to react to a very quick 6-0 run. 3-ball steal, 3-ball for Delta. Sierra Smith, step back jumper, no good. Zaria challenging for the board. She hits the deck hard. She may have picked up an injury. No, never mind. She's okay. She was writhing for just a second. They've given a foul against her for that as she tried to go between Rabina and Braxton and corral that board. That's the second against Zaria. We're not in anywhere near the sort of trouble we were yesterday. Right now, Zaria, the only Viking with multiple fouls. Moncrief, Abdelkader, Smith, and Kong each have one. McCrary and Anderson yet to commit one. Lauren Rabina in control for San Joaquin Delta. Now gives to Brand at the top of the key. Janae Anderson taking a swipe to try to steal it. Moving her feet well. Tries to pass to her teammate Demps. It's off her hands as she was hassled by Smith, and that'll be yet another Delta turnover. 12-7. That battle has closed up considerably. 23-16, the rebound count right now in favor of Delta. Daisha Abdelkader takes the pick from Hendricks, drives to the left side. Sankia Braxton swats that, and I bet you could hear it in my microphone. Here comes Sierra Smith challenging on Demps. She's going to commit her second foul as she tries to just provide Demps no path to the hoop. You see here Abdelkader, a swat from Trina Rathjen as she went past, and then Braxton whacked that one. Also looks like it may have hit the underside of the backboard. So it'll be an inbound right here. 3 fouls per team right now with 4:02 to go. Rathjen takes the inbound. She, Rabina, Brand, Braxton, and Demps on the floor. Rabina thought about the turnaround three. Now it's Braxton. She'll shoot from the right elbow. Her jumper no good. Janae Anderson, look what I found. Ball comes right to her. She's got one of her first rebounds tonight. In fact, it is her first rebound. Here goes Zaria Hendricks up to the cup. Good baseline drive on the left side. Flipped it up with the left hand. Absorbed contact. She's headed to the line again. Monette Brown and Dawnwene Anthony each currently on the bench for Delta with 2 fouls. Nobody else has more than 1, but I think Sakia Braxton just picked up her second. There it is, yep. Kiara Watkins with the only other Delta foul so far. Comes Hendricks, shooting 2. This is the first one, front iron. Vikings struggling just a little bit from the line at the moment. 5 of 8 now after starting out 5 of 6. Moncrief missed a pair, and Hendricks that one. We'll see if Zaria can get number 2. Oh, it's front iron, then back iron, then rolls on front iron, and then out. And it remains 32-27 as it was when that timeout was taken. 3 minutes, 33 seconds to go. Rabina, Rathjen now at the top of the key, working on Hendricks. A foul called down low. Looks like Moncrief may have impeded Dawnwene Anthony. Perhaps held on to her. We'll take a look at the replay, see if we can spot it. Yeah, it looks like she used her arm to try to get by Anthony, or to try to guide her into a different spot. That's the second on Moncrief. She and Hendricks, the only Vikings with 2. Ball dropped down low. Busy hands from Moncrief. The ball's picked off now by Sierra Smith. Here she comes driving on the left side. Nice bounce pass to Moncrief. but she takes too many steps, so she has to adjust her path. Alexa Brand did well to close that out. It looks like she shuffled a little bit, trying to lay that in. We'll look for a replay that does not seem to be coming as the action is picked up all over again. Here's Peyton Demps working forward. Still 32-27. Not for long, perhaps. Nope, Rathjen has it poked away by Sierra Smith. The ball will stay right here. 22 to shoot. .308 to go. Vikings up 5. Not quite the party time feeling we had, let's say, about 4 minutes ago in game time. Rathjen, down low to Anthony, spins around Moncrief, floats it up with the right hand and drops it in from 3 feet. One possession game, 3 minutes to go in the half. DVC look to start with Abdelkader coming down the right side across the timeline. Smith, Hendricks, Anderson, and Moncrief on the field with her, on the court with her. I'm calling basketball, not soccer. Hendricks gets the kick out on the Abdelkader drive, just off target. That one rolled around a little bit. Here comes Rabina. Kick back out to Anthony, looks to drive on Moncrief, loses the handle for a moment. Looks like she used the left arm to ward off. Nothing given, though. Here's Rathjen from the right side, just inside the arc. No good. Brand tried to throw that off of a Viking. Moncrief able to corral it, and now finds Sierra Smith. 2:23 to go. Sierra Smith taking on Anthony, kicks out to Hendricks. That's off target, wide left and short. Vikings three-point shooting has cooled off considerably. 5 of 13 on the game now, after starting 5 of 10. A little bit of a power outage here, and a bit of lackadaisical ball handling for the Vikings, and that's led Delta right back into this. They finally got right on their three-pointers. They're 5 of 11. Here's a turnaround jumper by Anthony, no good. Rebound Rathjen, her attempt is too strong. Moncrief gets the board, and they've whistled foul number 3 on Leilani, and she has no idea what happened. Let's take a look at it here on the replay. On the putback attempt. Oh, I see nothing there. The arms aren't flying. She uses her body to get in front. I don't know about that one. Worse than anything now, it's actually put Delta into the bonus for the last minute 52, so that's going to send Donwene Anthony to the line. Anthony, a 63% free throw shooter. She misses the first. So reset right now. Both teams with 3 timeouts left. Vikings would be in the bonus on the next Delta foul as well. 1 minute 52 to go in quarter number 2. 32-29 your score. Anthony hits the second, and it's a 2-point game. 32-30. Not at all what we had in mind about 10 minutes ago. Sierra Smith dribbling over to the left. Janae Anderson working through picks. Daisha Abdelkader, the one who gets open. She finds Anderson. Quick squeeze off 3, short. Here comes the rebound, and Delta could tie it or take the lead on this trip down the floor. Find Peyton Demps. She fakes the 3. Now tries to drop it down low for Anthony, but the busy hands of Sierra Smith take it away again. Jasmine Kong now on the ball. Driving. Taken away from behind by Anthony. She slaps it away. Rabena now in possession. And we're going back the other way with 81 seconds to go in the half. Donwene Anthony can't keep the handle. Sierra Smith able to grab the turnover. Here comes Zaria Hendricks. Minute 12 to go. Hendricks trapped by 2 defenders. There's the tie-up, I think, and it's going to be a turnover. DVC unable to call a timeout, and it's going Delta's way. Everything really right now is going Delta's way. They're 5 for 11 now from 3. They've got a 29-18 advantage on the boards, and it's only 16-10 on turnovers. That's what we said last time around when the turnover advantage, I should say when the rebounding advantage was about 20 and the turnover advantage was about 10, Delta played it close. We're in that sort of situation where they might be able to play it ahead if we're not careful. Donwene Anthony, jump stop in front of Zaria Hendricks, elects not to shoot. Drop back for Kendall Weary, 48 seconds left, 10 to shoot. Here comes Weary driving on to draw 3 defenders. Kicks out for Savannah Macias, straight on 3 from Donwene Anthony, no good. Macias tries to get the board. Sierra Smith ties her up, and that's going back DVC's way. 39.6 seconds left. And Savannah Macias seeing her first action of tonight's encounter. 38 seconds left. It's the Vikings with Anderson, Hendricks, Smith, McCrary, and Abdelkader on the floor. Abdelkader absorbing a foul as she tried to drive through way back, about 5 or 6 feet behind the three-point arc. That's going to put Abdelkader at the line. She's a 70%, actually now 69% free throw shooter on the season. 33.4 to go. First free throw, no good. The Vikings now shooting sub 50% from the line. Made 5 of their first 6, and they've now missed 5 in a row. A pair for Hendricks, a pair for Moncrief, and now that one from Abdelkader. Everything all at once has stopped dropping. Finally, we get off 32 points. It's 33-30, 33 seconds left. 30 on the shot clock. Nice bit of symmetry there. Lauren Rabina with the probably penultimate possession of our first half. Abdelkader does well to follow her through the pick of Anthony. Now drops off to Kendall Weary, laid up off glass from the right side as she drives. Makes it 33-32. DVC will hold for the final shot. 13 seconds to go. Kick back out for Sierra Smith. Hendricks has it. 9 seconds. 8. Here comes Hendricks. Crossover dribble. Gets it in her left. Floats it up. No good. Rebound taken by Weary. A tie up with 2.6 seconds left, but that'll go back to Delta. So that does mean DVC will probably start with possession unless we have another tie-up in the last 2.6 seconds. Comes the inbound to Rabina. The clock doesn't start at first, but Rabina fires up a desperation shot anyhow. That goes well short from about 10 feet behind half court, and that's where we end up. So Vikings fans, this was, I'll be honest, it was a lot more fun to call for the first roughly 14 minutes. DVC outscored 18-4 in the second quarter. All of their shots just suddenly stopped falling. They were up 32-21, and then just like that, it was 32-30. It is now 33-32 as we go to the break.
Halftime in the women's semifinals, the 3C2A basketball championships here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, and another tight one here, a one-point game, 33-32 in favor of Diablo Valley. They rushed out to the early lead. But now it has tightened up significantly. Jeff's going up back with Marcia Foster, Joe Hickey, lead play-by-play announcer for Diablo Valley College. And Joe, thanks so much for sitting in here for a few minutes. And
my pleasure.
Let's get your thoughts here. Diablo Valley, boy, the first few minutes, it can hardly go any better. They race out to the big lead, but San Joaquin Delta, a big comeback in that second quarter. What went well, and how did it kind of start to get away from them in the latter stages of that first half?
Yeah, it was party time early. Certainly the slash and kick game seemed to be working great. I think Delta was a little bit surprised, honestly, by us trying to get the points right at the bucket. That opened up some good open looks for 3. Built up a big lead, got the turnovers we usually do. We were even managing on the glass pretty well for a little bit there. But toward the middle of the second quarter, it seemed that there was some frustration, maybe some of the stress of the of a first time in a state semifinal. They began coughing the ball up a little more often. They've already got 10 turnovers so far today, and that's their average for a game all season. And shots just stopped falling. They missed 5 of their last 6 free throws. They missed their last 4 threes. So an opportunity for a good team like Delta to get right back into it.
Yeah, and I think Moncrief's picking up the 3rd foul. I know you referenced that, and when we were talking about that, and a little bit of the frustration from that, and obviously that has to be a concern for a team that doesn't go real deep into the bench moving forward. Marcia, from San Joaquin Delta standpoint, Gina Johnson on that sideline appeared to have her work cut out for her early, down big in this one, but they adjusted huge in the second quarter. 18-4, they outscored Diablo Valley. What did you see from San Joaquin Delta? How were they able to really get it going?
Well, I thought they started making some really great hustle plays, right? They started coming up with the loose balls because early in the game, it was just Diablo Valley. They were scoring, they were coming up with the balls, they were creating opportunities in defense to get steals, and Delta was a little rattled, right? It's hard to go down that much that early, and it's up to the coach has to do a good job of just reminding you there's such a long game to go. So I think once the ball started to go in the basket, I tell you, sometimes that's the best cure for when things aren't going well, is to see the ball go in, right? And the ball goes in the basket, and all of a sudden the confidence starts to come. You see their leaders step up and start to make plays, and here we are.
Couple of threes late in that first quarter, I think. Big. I remember thinking, even though they were still down, it's got to feel good to see those shots go in, and they carried it into the second quarter. A quick question, Joe. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but third meeting between these two teams. Now, did you have an opportunity to see the first 2 games in the coverage throughout the regular season?
I was at the second game.
Yeah.
That was on Valentine's Day, actually, and there was no love in the air. But it was quite an encounter. In that one, Zaria Hendricks had a lot of difficulty in foul trouble. She actually fouled out with about 6 minutes to go. And it was all about Daisha Abdelkader. She scored 14 of her 29. That's her college career high in the fourth quarter, and just took over in the late going. Got 7 points after Zaria was dismissed. And that's the thing about DVC. We saw it yesterday with Sierra Smith. It can come from anywhere. It can be Leilani, it can be Sierra, it could be Jasmine Kong. She's won a tournament for us early in the season almost by herself. And so that's the joy of it, is not really knowing where it might come from.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Such a diverse team, even with the short bench. The players that do play all contribute in such different ways at different times. Well, let's get in the mind a little bit of Ramondo Vaughn. What do you think the adjustment's going to be? Where do you see him going looking to this second half?
I would expect to see them come out and play with a fury. That's what worked early on. I think they're going to try and get back to the drive game and see what they can do with some of the foul trouble that they started to get a couple of the Delta players into. Anthony, Braxton, they've each got 2. If you can push and get a third or a fourth for one of those, you can neutralize the size down low. That helps with rebounding. That helps with scoring. Seems like a good tonic if you can just try and take them on.
And from the other side, San Joaquin Delta, how do they keep it going into the second half?
Keep executing our offense the way we want to execute our offense, right? Let's not get into a rush game. I can imagine Coach Johnson telling them, look, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. They know that. We know that. Let's go out and let's execute. Let's not fall behind, right? And they fell behind trying to do things too quickly early on. So do what we do, because when they execute, they're a really, really good team. It's going to be tough to beat Diablo Valley because there's so many weapons out there on the floor. But I like the toughness and the inside game of Delta, and I like their patience. And I think maybe this one goes down to the wire.
It's already been a knockdown drag-out, and we're only halfway through it. We will return for the second half. It's the women's semifinals, the 3C2A basketball championship here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
And welcome back to the VC Sportsplex. We're back underway right at this moment. Sierra Smith inbounding to Daisha Abdelkader, joined by Hendricks, Moncrief, and Janae Anderson, the starting 5 for DVC on the floor. Right away, it's Abdelkader driving, now kicking back to Sierra Smith. Now she looks to drive with the right hand, throws it up, absorbs contact from, I believe, Peyton Demps. That'll be her second personal. And the first foul of our third quarter, just 11 seconds in. I had a wonderful chance just now to talk with Marcia and Jeff over at SoCal College Sports a little bit about what we might expect from DVC here in the second half. One thing right off the bat that might help is getting one of their best free throw shooters, Sierra Smith, to the line on a drive. And that, so far, a good tonic. She makes her first. 80% free throw shooter, 7th in the state of California. And I should just not talk because she misses the second. 34-32. DVC with the first point of the third quarter. The Vikings, if you missed half number 1, they played, here's an errant pass. That'll have to wait. Janae Anderson picks it off. Forward for Smith. Good thing she's got long arms. Passes to Leilani, who didn't realize it was coming, and she manages to grab it. Little discombobulated after the steal. Now here's the handoff to Zaria Hendricks. Drive, kick to Moncrief, left side of the baseline. Still 18 to shoot. Drops that off for Sierra Smith. 15 now to shoot. To the right side for Abdelkader. Weary playing off of her. Daisha looking to drive. Now kicks. Sierra Smith straight on 3. In and out. And that is the game that works so nicely for DVC in the early going. Here's a quick throw over to the right side for Kendall Weary, and nearly picked off by Zaria Hendricks. Now back to Lauren Rabena. Inside, turnaround jumper, Braxton. And it's tied 34-34, a minute into this second half. Vikings played about 2/3 of a good half of basketball. They were up by 15, and then suddenly the lights went out. Sierra Smith jumper from just inside the arc, no good. Tries to earn that one back. And apparently, apparently does not. I was trying to tell if she made a motion to her teammates or if she was asking for a replay. We do have replay over here, but I don't think the referees get to use it. Sankia Braxton, forward for Peyton Demps. Demps working her way to the top of the key. Back to Rabina. Long, uncontested 3. She misses that a little bit wide right. Abdelkader working her way forward now for the Vikings. Stops at the right elbow, kicks back to Sierra Smith. Not enough space yet for a jumper, but the shot clock is young. 18 still on it. Working against Demps. Zaria Hendricks coming out to try to give a pick, just takes Dominique Anthony away from the hoop. Oh my goodness, I don't think that Leilani Moncrief knew that Smith's kick-out pass was coming. Luckily for DVC, a bit of disattention on the Delta end. Kendall Weary travels as she tried to get off on a run. So the ball right back to DVC. We mentioned before the turnover battle not being won quite as convincingly as DVC's accustomed to. I mean, they have gotten 16, which is actually above their season average. The big problem is they've given up 10, which is their season average, but for an entire game. Sierra Smith driving to the left side. Leaves it for Leilani Moncrief outside the arc, directing traffic. She looks to take a drive into Sankia Braxton. I think Braxton may have committed a foul, and that's good news for DVC if that's the case. No, it's on Anthony. That's also fine. So that's the third personal on Donwane Anthony. Leilani Moncrief, the only Viking, with 3. Monette Brown and Sankia Braxton each have 2, as do Sierra Smith and Zaria Hendricks. For the Vikings, I think you want to continue to drive and kick. The shots will fall eventually. Ball to the top of the key for Zaria Hendricks. We are tied up with 17 minutes and 47 seconds to decide a state finalist. Abdelkader, open 3! Daisha's got her second. Daisha now 2 for 2 from deep, and maybe start trying to feed that while it lasts. Sankia Braxton fouled. Sierra Smith indicating to our lead official, Darlene Hargrove, that she thinks that Braxton was warding off. It's not the first time we've seen that signal. Foul given instead against Daisha Abdelkader. Her first team foul on DVC in the third quarter. 2 so far on Delta. About 2.5 minutes in. Having a hard time getting the ball inbounded there. I think the referee might have been on 4 or 4.5, but Brown does finally get it to Rabina. Here comes the pick from Braxton to pick off Abdelkader. There's the switch. Abdelkader nearly swatted the pass away from Braxton on the pick and roll. But Sankia able to get it. She leads all Delta scorers right now with 6. DVC working at the other end. Make it 8 for Braxton, rather. Sierra Smith driving to the right side. Braxton a block. Ball in possession of Lauren Rabina. As Delta set up their half court. 19 to shoot. Sankia Braxton comes out to offer the pick. Rabina steps back and misses another three-pointer. Janae Anderson does well to get around the arrival of Peyton Demps. Now Monette Brown coming in. There's a nice spin. Good work from Janae Anderson. Leaves it for Zaria Hendricks, driving, right-handed runner in the lane, and she puts that in off glass. DVC make it 39-36. Zaria's got 14 to lead all scorers. Running in is Monette Brown, trying to lay it in on the left side from just under the hoop. No good. Rebound Hendricks. DVC look to run the other way. Here's Daisha stepping into a 3. Off target this time. First miss. Leilani Moncrief with the board. Looks like Sankia Braxton may have committed a foul trying to get it back. And that's great news for DVC. That'll be 3 on Kia. That'll be it for her for a little while. She and Brown come out. Donwane Anthony with 3 fouls back in, as is Alexa Brand. Brand valued particularly for her free throw shooting, though, as we said, she hasn't played big minutes so far. She did hit a 3 earlier. There's Daisha Abdelkader down low looking for Hendricks. Looks like we've got a foul committed, though, off the ball by Sierra Smith, and so it's going to go the other way. That's 3 on Sierra. DVC try the 2-woman press. They break it. Here's Peyton Demps. Dropped off for Rastchen. She has room for a 3 potentially. Donwane Anthony fed down low. Zaria Hendricks alters the shot. May have even gotten a piece of it. And as it came back to Anthony, it hit her foot and goes out of bounds. 6 minutes to go in the third. DVC up 3. Winning the quarter so far after being outscored 18-4 in the second. Maybe the worst offensive quarter of the entire season for the Vikings. Sierra Smith driving, kicking back to the top of the key. Abdelkader, nice quick move to take Rabina on the dribble. Now leaves it for Leilani Moncrief. Nice post move, spins to her right and lays it in off glass. Around Donwane Anthony, who's got to be a little scared to give up that 4th personal. That's somebody you can drive at right now. Go for it. Ball forward for Trina Rastchen. Leilani Moncrief getting in the way. A little bit of contact, nothing given. Rastchen floats it in, and we're back to 41-38, 3-point Vikings lead. Zaria Hendricks working away to the left side. Tries to split 2 defenders. That was an awfully high dribble. Rastchen gets a piece of it. Alexa Brand settles the steal. Zaria trying to make Rastchen's life miserable. Able to escape. Rabina forward for Demps. Over to the left side now. Moncrief getting in the way of Donwane Anthony. Great defense. Forced to kick out to Brand. Now Rabina. Rabina thinking about taking Abdelkader on the dribble. Nope, she'll take it back out. 14 to shoot. Anthony gives the pick. Abdelkader hits the deck, and they're going to call a foul against Daisha for that. That's going to be 3 on her. You might have been able to argue that Anthony stuck a hip out there. We'll see it right now. I don't know how you call that a foul on Daisha Abdelkader. That's 3 on Daisha. will try to keep my comments on refereeing neutral. Inbound to Alexa Brand, looks to run along the baseline, batted away from her. Picking it up is Anthony, blocked by Moncrief. 24 on the shot clock as Delta got a fresh 30 after the Advocator foul. Rabina Rathjen now trying to drive to the right side on Hendricks. Too hard off glass. Advocator the board. Here comes Daisha. Bunch of Vikings now on 3 fouls. Advocator. Oh, nice dump down to Leilani Moncrief. Wrapped around across the bottom of the baseline. Leilani's turnaround, though, no good. She's 4 for 10 tonight from the field after shooting 50% for most of this postseason, and for that matter, most of this regular season. Advocator navigates the Anthony screen this time, sticks to Rabina. Down low, Anthony with a height advantage on Hendricks, looking to make use of it. Spins again, lays up, too short. Hendricks the board. She'll leave that for Smith. Vikings continue to lead by 3, but the game has slowed back down to Delta sort of pace. Sierra Smith pull up from just inside the free throw line. Can't hit it. Lauren Rabina the board. She looks to go coast to coast. Has an arm up to ward off. Ball finally punched away by Zaria Hendricks. It'll go out the baseline though, but Rabina with an arm up the whole way down the court. You can see it here on the replay. She's the whole way throwing her free arm out at Zaria Hendricks and Sierra Smith. Anybody that gets anywhere near her. Inbound to come in a moment. 5 seconds going off the shot clock. Peyton Demps will put it in. Rabina manages to get free for it. Advocator takes a blow to the face. She's holding her nose right now. Defends with one hand. Alexa Brand and Trina Rathjen bang into each other, and I don't know if one of them is going to get called for a foul for that. Perhaps a travel, actually, as a result of the two of them coming together. Brand got it and then took a few too many steps. So it is a turnover. 3 team fouls aside right now for the third quarter. A lot of threes on the board. 3 timeouts per team as well. 3:53 left to go in the third period. 41-38. Vikings up 3. I don't know if anybody's thinking about playing the lottery, but I'd say put some threes in there right now. Sierra Smith over on the left side, working around the Moncrief pick. Finds Daisha Advocator. Back to Sierra Smith, top of the key. Sankia Braxton on her. That could be a speed advantage for her. Sankia, though, with the quick feet, faking like she might go for it. Sierra Smith tries, kicks to a wide-open Jasmine Kong, who hits from the left corner. 3-ball for DVC, their first make since early in the second quarter from three-point line. No, that's not true. Advocator had one earlier. My bad. Second make since early in the second quarter. Braxton, turnaround jumper, no good. Kong comes away with the rebound and looks to get DVC out on the break. Loses it to the touch of Demps, but it comes to Janae Anderson. Anderson, Advocator, Smith, Moncrief, and Kong on the floor for the Vikings. Kong back to Advocator. Open 3. Online and true. DVC up 9, 47-38. And here come the threes again on the drive and kick game. 2:52 to go. Vikings have owned the third quarter so far. Sankia Braxton driving. Floater from the left side. No foul given. Dominique Anthony gets it. Shot clock doesn't reset, but here comes the straight-on 3 from Demps. No good. Anthony able to chase that down in the left corner. Back out to Demps. Nobody guarding her. Elects not to shoot. Back to Rabina. She's wide open, and she drills the 3 this time. 47-41. 6-point Viking lead with 2.5 to go in the third. Sierra Smith, nice ball fake to the left, now fires it underneath for Moncrief, who lays it in. Leilani back in the score among the scorers. That's 11 for her, 5 for 11 from the field. She hadn't scored, I think, since very, very late in the first quarter. Advocator shoved, and this time they do give it as the offensive foul. So Rabina again with the offhand shoving Advocator into the woman who was offering the pick. We'll take a look at it on this. I'll be honest, it's not as good as the contact was on the earlier one that I thought should have been a foul, but we'll take it. Substitution time here. Braxton and Rabina out. Lauren Rabina now with her first foul. It is just Anthony and Braxton sitting on 3. Dominique Anthony out there right now, along with Trina Rathjen, Monette Brown, Peyton Demps, and Alexa Brand. For DVC, it's Anderson, Kong, Smith, Advocator, and Moncrief. Daisha with the ball right now, looking to go to work on Trina Rathjen. Here comes the movements as they try to get Janae Anderson free. No dice. Sierra Smith, though, gets free. Now looks to dribble, drives, throws it up off glass, absorbs the blocking foul. No good on the attempt, but she'll go to the line to shoot 2. An opportunity to put DVC back up double digits as they have methodically rebuilt this lead that they had lost in a 15-1 Delta run. We mentioned before the game that they had against Los Angeles Trade Tech yesterday in the quarterfinals, also a game very much of runs. They were down 10-2 early. They went on a 20-5 run in the middle of that first quarter for about 5.5 minutes as Smith hits the first, 50-41 now. And then they closed the first half on a 12-2 run after the game had gotten tied up 37, kind of a situation like what DVC felt, where Delta lost their 8-point lead all in the span of about 3 minutes. Bunch of turnovers, some nice pressing by LA Trade Tech as Smith hits the second. DVC up 10, little under 2 to go in the third. And after that, basically, Delta played game maintenance. It was kind of that situation where a big sibling holds the little sibling's forehead while the little sibling punches and can't reach. It's sort of how it felt for the next 20 minutes. Monette Brown fed with a nice cross quarter by Rabina. Her three-pointer, those off target, off back iron. Abdelkader recovers the board. Forward to Sierra Smith. 90 seconds, actually 85 to go in the quarter. Long attempt at a pass, and that's going to wind up over the head of Janae Anderson, who is admittedly only 5'4". She and Abdelkader, the shortest Vikings. That one sent trainers and DVC presidents scattering. Nice to see President Susan Lamb here in attendance, having made the trip down. Not able to make it yesterday due to hiring processes going on at campus, but here for the semifinal, and so, of course, we're all extra glad that DVC gave her something to fly down to. It has been one heck of a game. Final 60 seconds. Monette Brown driving on Jasmine Kong, laying that in with the English, and Delta make it an 8-point game with about a minute to go in the third. Ball forward for Abdelkader on the left wing. Top of the key, Smith, one touch back to Kong. She waits for a moment, then shoots. That one hits two sides of the iron, pops straight up, but then falls away. Rebound from Demps. She works to the top of the key, finds Brand, a little trouble settling the ball, but doesn't need much of a grip on it as she hits the three-pointer from the right side. Wide open, and again, it's a 5-point game. You saw the last little, or the first dents in DVC's lead happen just like that, but Sierra Smith makes sure that the Vikings have an answer. Great drive, drifting to the right side, puts it in from a tough angle off glass as she went down the right baseline. Vikings up 7, 17 seconds left, shot clock is off. Alexa Brand dribbles around a screen, almost a travel. Coach Vaughn not satisfied. Rabina, that is going to be kicked by Leilani Moncrief. It would reset the shot clock if there were one running right now. 9.9 seconds to go. Stuck a foot out and just punted that thing. Maybe, I know she's a sophomore here in basketball. Does she have eligibility left in football? Vikings just lost their punter and place kicker to the end of his 2 years of eligibility. Maybe sign up Leilani. That thing traveled. Peyton Demps, inbound to Trina Rathjen, works around Leilani Moncrief, but she comes back and blocks it from behind, and they've called a foul. That looked clean from here. We'll need to see the replay. That'll be 4 on Moncrief. Oh boy, I don't know. That sends Rathjen to the line, 5.7 seconds left, a chance maybe for DVC to build something after the free throws. Rathjen misses the first one, front iron, ball don't lie. She will shoot another. We mentioned Rathjen, a 76% free throw shooter, 47% from the field on the season. Moncrief out to manage foul trouble. Zaria Hendricks into the game alongside Smith, Kong, Abdelkader, and Anderson, who's all the way at the other side, I think maybe for a home run pass. She does have Alexa Brand watching her. Second free throw rattles home. Here comes the ball to Abdelkader. Daisha working forward. 3 seconds left. Daisha runs into a three. Banks it in at the buzzer! And the Vikings will go to the break up 9. Daisha. 3 for 4 from three-point land in tonight's game. Make it 4 for 5 as the stats on 3C2ASports.com update. But Abdelkader putting DVC back up. They led by 1 at the break. They've added 8 points to that lead. Just a fantastic quarter for them. They've gotten back to what got them here. And we talked about Abdelkader being probably still playing through the nightmares of Delta fans after those 29 that she dropped on them, her career collegiate high in the game in Pleasant Hill, the second meeting between these two teams. And the Vikings needed just about every one of those to get over that hump and get the win that eventually clinched them the Big 8 title. Well, Vikings fans, I told you that we would have that trivia question answer for you here. In fact, while I've got the moment, I'm going to check and see if anybody had a response for me on Twitter. Let's see, anyone? Nope, nothing on Twitter. Let's see if we've got it on the Mixler Live app. And take a look at that as we watch highlights here on the board. Nope, no answers. Ah, darn. Okay, well, at any rate, I'll give you the answer anyway. There are no participation points in a live streaming radio broadcast. So the question beforehand was, what is the last DVC program to navigate a bracket and contest a state final? And the answer to that question is the DVC women's soccer team back in 2016. They made the trip. Colleen Mullins women kind of coming to life almost out of nowhere. They had been double-digit seeds for several years before that. They'd never gotten further than the second round of the postseason. The interesting thing about that is the symmetry I see here. In that particular run, they beat Delta in the Elite Eight, and they had to beat the closest team geographically to the tournament, which was here in Ventura in the semifinal. Now, of course, those have been switched here. They beat Ventura themselves in the quarterfinal, and then, oh boy, foul called against Jasmine Kong. Sankia Braxton is going to not go to the line, as she had not gotten the shot up just yet, but it is Kong absorbing the foul. That's Jasmine's second. But in that one, yeah, they had to beat, in the semifinal, the team closest geographically to the tournament. This team had to beat Ventura right here in Ventura. There's also the Delta win. Those are swapped. My hope is that what that means is that if we manage to get through this game, a 9-point lead at the moment with 9:48 to get through, foul called against Janae Anderson now on Alexa Brand, and that is bad news for getting Delta near the bonus. 2 fouls in 13 seconds, and the frustration palpable from here, even though Ramondo Vaughn is a good 70 feet away from me. But I like the idea of also reversing the last part of that. That DVC team lost to Cerritos in overtime. Maybe this one can win in overtime in a final. They've got to get there first, though. Sankia Braxton, a good turnaround off of a well-drawn-up inbound play by Gina Johnson. And it's a 7-point DVC lead now, 56-49, 9:34 to go. Moncrief sitting on 4 fouls. She is, as a result, right now, sitting. Vikings sacrificing some size. They're going to have to get fury in order to get there. As Jasmine Kong pulls up for a jumper, no good. Peyton Dent struggling to get control of it, but she does throw it back to Rathjen before falling out of bounds. Here comes Delta looking to make it a 2-possession game. Rabina over to Demps. Working her way forward. Abdulkader, good footwork, manages to stay in front of her. Now she spins to the right side, no good. Abdulkader chasing down the board, and she looks to get off to the run again. Nope, she'll come to a stop. Needs a moment to get a grip on herself. I think she stumbled a little bit awkwardly as she tried to lead that break and secure that rebound. Kong with the ball, 8:53 left, Vikings up 7. Handoff to Sierra Smith. DVC will play in their half-court set right now. The clock is your friend. The only problem has been the Vikings have not been very good at securing rebounds, and so you've got to make the first shot count. Here's the kick out for Zaria Hendricks, just off target, and taken by Sankia Braxton and Trina Rathjen, both of whom are just sort of playing monkey in the middle with poor Jasmine Kong. Rabina inside to Braxton. Back to Rabina. Delta forced to take their time in the half-court set. There's Peyton Demps. Abdulkader on her. Demps throws it down low for Braxton. Too far, and that's going to go out of play. Empty possession for the Mustangs. 8:20 left. Sierra Smith brings the ball up for DVC. They have not been going for full-on fury right now, and as we said, what that means is they need to make their shots. They've not been doing much in terms of picking up rebounds off of misses in the course of this game. Here's a ball to Janae Anderson at the left side. Back iron three-pointer. Had gotten behind an adversary, but as a result was a good 3 or 4 feet behind the three-point arc. Here comes, looks like Demps driving to the right side. Closed off there by Smith. Now Brand tries to feed Braxton. Help comes, and so she'll kick out to Demps, who hits the 3 over Smith, and we've got a 4-point game. 56-52. Sierra Smith driving on the right side between Braxton and Dempson. Here's a big decision. Who is that foul on? If it's Braxton, it's her 4th. Waiting to see it come up on the board. Either way, it will send Sierra Smith to the line once she catches her breath. The foul called against Peyton Demps. That is her 2nd personal. The issue has been DVC have only managed to get to 7 of their 38 misses in this game so far. Delta, by contrast, have corralled 40% of their misses for offensive boards, 14 of the 35. Sierra makes the first free throw. It's almost a a wash right now in terms of shooting as she makes it a 5-point game. Delta shooting 35.1% from the field, DVC 35.2%. Three-pointers, Delta shooting 8 for 20, 40%. DVC 9 for 23, 39.1% as Kong leads the game. And I have to imagine Leilani Moncrief has come back in on her 4 fouls. Turnover battle has pitched a little more in DVC's favor, 22-13. As they try to play neat and tidy ball. Sierra Smith misses the second. Delta secure the rebound. 5-point lead, 7.5 minutes to go. Rabina working around Braxton's pick. Abdelkader stays with her, walls it off. Rabina tries a reverse layup. No good. Zaria Hendricks has the board. Here come the Vikings. Hendricks over to the left side, joined by Abdelkader, Smith, Moncrief, and Anderson. It's Kendall Weary right now on her. No, yeah, it is Weary. Rabina, Demps, Braxton, and Rathjen, the rest of the Mustangs on the floor. DVC almost lose the handle there. Zaria Hendricks has it, 8 to shoot, driving to the left side. Kendall Weary hits the deck, she commits the foul, and Zaria is headed to the line. 6:55 to go, 5 minutes left. This is uncharted territory, Vikings fans, for this DVC program. They've never been to a Final Four before qualifying for it about 24 hours ago. Zaria Hendricks rattles the first free throw. Front iron, back iron, front iron, out. She's been good for 14 points per game. She's got those 14 right now here in the postseason. Misses both sides of the free throws. And that's been killing DVC ever since they got to that 5 for 6 mark. Since then, they have gone 5 for 14. Imagine this game with about 5 or 6 more DVC free throws made. That ball popped around. Sankia Braxton's too strong on the first shot, too short on the second one after getting the board. Abdelkader nearly knocks it away. Quick work around to Peyton Demps from the right side. No good on the 3 ball. Kendall Weary rips it away from Sierra Smith. Her shot's too strong. Braxton another rebound. That's off target. Braxton again short. Braxton again short. My goodness. 6 opportunities. Zaria Hendricks ties it up, and finally it's Vikings ball. 6 minutes, 17 seconds left. Vikings still up 5. They get the ball. That'll turn the possession arrow around. The rest of your reset at the moment. 2 fouls aside, 3 timeouts left per team. I lost count of how many misses there were, but that just tanked Delta's free throw or field goal percentage. Now down to 31.3, but it also gave them a total of 20 offensive rebounds. They have now officially gotten almost half of their own misses. DVC with 22 defensive boards, Delta with 20 offensive boards. Zaria Hendricks with it, 6 minutes to go. Dribbling to the right side, working underneath Dominique Anthony, and lays that one in. Cool, calm, and collected. Vikings back up 7. As long as the lead is bigger than the number of minutes left, I feel good. Every time that changes, I feel unsettled, and I talk less. Delta in control. Dominique Anthony spinning around Zaria Hendricks, lays that up off back iron, no good. Leilani Moncrief going for the rebound. If they've given that against Leilani, she's done. No, it's Zaria Hendricks, thank heavens. That is her third. She's got them to give. But a deep inhalation for every one of us for a moment. Certainly looked like Leilani had the right to go for that. Looks like Zaria was the one who did something a little untoward in trying to corral that board. Here's the inbound to Rabina in the right corner. She looks to dribble out. Here comes the pick from Anthony. Abdelkader scoots around that. Hendricks contests nicely. The shot's no good. Rathjen blocked by Moncrief as she tries for the putback. Here comes Sierra Smith. Working up the left side, now to the right. Lays it off glass. Rolls around the hoop and down. Vikings up 9. 5:20 to go. Loud, high-pitched whistle made me think we had a timeout coming, but no dice. There's Demps falling as she dumps off the Rathjen. She attempts a shot, no good. Looks like Sierra Smith with the foul. It is 2-2. That is going to be 4 on Sierra. So both she and Moncrief right now in serious foul trouble. Zaria, Daisha, both with 3. Kong with 2, Anderson with 1. Neither of them in any danger. It is currently Anderson, Abdelkader, Smith, Moncrief, and Hendricks on the floor. Doesn't look like Coach Vaughn is going to make any substitution in response to that. First free throw drained by Rathjen. She's 4 for 5 from the line tonight. 8 points. She'll take her second. And she makes that one too. 61-54. 5 minutes to go. They seem to be getting longer and longer, Vikings fans. Sierra Smith working at the top of the key. DVC know the clock is their friend. Trying to have a good possession and get a good look. Abdelkader around the pick, fires for 3, no good. Contested by Moncrief, unable to grab the rebound, probably for the best that she didn't make any contact. Monet Brown, recently put in by Coach Johnson, gives it to Rabina. Top of the key, Dominique Anthony, now back to Brown. Sierra Smith sticks to her nicely around the Dominique Anthony pick, stays there, falls to ground, and they are going to call a block against Sierra Smith, and she's gone. Wow. She did a pretty solid job, I thought, of sticking to the defender. But that is all for Smith. She fouls out with 10 points on 3 of 9 shooting. 4 for 6 from the free throw line. And that's the other thing that kills you, is that's DVC's best free throw shooter unavailable for the final 4:34 as she walks over to the bench, the front of her jersey between her teeth. First free throw rattles home by Monet Brown. Brown, a 42% free throw shooter on the season. She makes both of them here. Wouldn't know it from that stroke. She's got 5. DVC, led by Zaria Hendricks' 16, are up 5 points with 4 minutes, 28 seconds to go, but they are without Sierra Smith, the catalyst of last night's game. Abdelkader driving, laying off glass on the left side, and putting it home. And if you were around for the last time these two teams met, you know that after a player fouled out for DVC in that one, Abdelkader went for 7 points in 6 minutes. Went absolutely bananas in the fourth quarter. Monet Brown forced to stop and terminate her dribble at the left block. Back to Brand, now back to Brown. Dump down low for Anthony, trying to work on Hendricks. Lays it up, no good. Hendricks battling for the board, and it's going to fall to Jasmine Kong. Good work by Zebo. 5 seconds to get across the timeline. Make sure you do that first, Daisha. There you go. 3:46 to go. Vikings up 7. Here's Zaria, looking to go to work on Rathjen. Gets around her, loses it to the pressure of Dominique Anthony, and she comes away with it. Over to the left side for Monet Brown. 3.5 to go. Kendall Weary working on Abdelkader. Rathjen showing for it. She's got some room. She could think about a jumper from there. Elects to drive instead on Moncrief, who blocks it again. That ball gets away, though. Janae Anderson trying to secure the rebound. Moncrief on the floor has it. Pushes it ahead for Daisha Abdelkader, and it's a 2-on-no-one. Finish it, Jasmine. Lay in for DVC. 9-point Viking lead with 3:10 to go. Can just about taste it. And that is why Gina Johnson's going to take a timeout. We've told you this story. You've probably heard it enough times to be sick of it by now if you've been listening to all the live streams. But if you're new to it, just a reminder for those that don't know, this is a team that lost the NorCal Player of the Year from last year, 4 All-Conference players, 2 All-State players, all of them now on scholarship because that is how Coach Vaughn looks to do it, sometimes moving on in just 1 year. Firmly believes in preventing 20-year-olds from being saddled with $60,000 worth of school debt and looks to find ways to get those players moving on as quickly as possible. But they lost all that. And Coach Vaughn started the season telling his fellow coaches that he was just hoping not to break his streak of 500 and above seasons. The Vikings are 3 minutes and 6 seconds away from going 31-1, and for the first time in team history, in program history, playing for a state title. They would get Moore Park or Merced tomorrow. None of these 3 programs has ever won a state title. Neither, for that matter, has Delta. But of the ones left over, it's actually Delta and Merced, the lower seeds, that are the ones that have contested state finals. Delta's been there 3 times. They were hoping for a 4th. Last time was 2009. Merced was there last year. They made a Cinderella run out of the 5th seed. But the top seed Vikings do not look likely to be denied. They are up 9 with 3:06 to go. They need to manage this game and particularly need to avoid fouling out Leilani Moncrief. They need her for the next 3:06. They need Janae Anderson and Daisha Abdelkader to get to the line. Heck, they need Moncrief for her ability to hit late game free throws. Those have been where she shined. Middle of the game, she has a hard time. Delta in possession, the clock running. Drop back to Peyton Demps outside the arc. 13 to shoot for the Mustangs. Kong does well to stick to her. Now the switch comes. It's Moncrief defending. Now it's going to be dropped down low to Anthony, working on Hendricks. Runs into a wall there. Back to Demps off of her face. She shoots the three-pointer. That hits front iron. Unable to settle the original pass. DVC able to come away. Delta with another empty possession. 65-56 Vikings. Here's Jasmine Kong. Great movement off the ball. She shoots a three. No good. Rebound comes to Hendricks. Nearly tied up. Back out to Abdelkader. No interest in shooting the early shot clock three now. The Vikings will try to spend this 24 seconds and get the clock down under 2 minutes. Abdelkader, drop down low to Moncrief. Cross-court pass. Hendricks in the corner. Short on the three. Kong's got the board. Chance to use more clock. Back out to Hendricks. Offensive rebounds have not come frequently for DVC, but they finally get a few here. Stoppage in play, not entirely sure what for. Maybe needed to check the shot clock, maybe needed to check the condition of a player. Oh. Technical foul given against whom? Try to see if that's shown up on the live stats here in a moment. I heard a technical foul given. Oh dear. Ball launched over the head of Zaria Hendricks, and that ends up being an empty trip. Thankfully for DVC, it lasted almost an entire minute. They remain up 9 with 2:08 to go. So we heard a technical foul earlier. Or perhaps a bench violation. Unclear exactly what happened there. Rabina fed for an open three, and she hits it from the right side. That destroys 1/3 of DVC's advantage. Daisha Abdelkader with a quick little move, able to avoid the full court press, though. 6-point Vikings lead, 1:49 left. Not time to foul yet. Abdelkader splits two defenders, drops it low for Moncrief, and a wild shot by Leilani does not fall. 40 to go. Here comes Demps. Out of control, somehow gets the ball back, no good. The rebound falls to her, though. Back out to Rabena, another three, back iron. Moncrief's fighting for the board. She's got it, it's a tie-up, and the ball will stay right here. Fresh 30, 1:28 left in the encounter. A down-to-the-wire battle for the first spot in tomorrow's state final. And Coach Gina Johnson wants to talk about it. I believe that is their second to last charge timeout. Waiting to see if it changes on the board or if they just got it faster than I thought to look up there. No, it appears the DVC have 3 left, Delta 2. DVC have committed 5 fouls, so Delta in the bonus from this point forward. Delta can foul to their heart's content for a little while, although it's kind of that Sacramento City situation from 1 week ago today. If you were listening into that game, Sacramento City had about 14 seconds left, down by 4 points after a couple of ice-cold shots by Janae Anderson and Zaria Hendricks. They had an opportunity to try to foul, put DVC at the line, and get a few possessions. The problem was they'd only fouled twice in the quarter. And so they had to whack DVC 3 times just to get them to the line. And between their inability to chase them down and just the sheer amount of time that takes, DVC never had to shoot free throws. They actually ran out the last 13 seconds and ran all the way here to Ventura. Delta may find themselves in a similar situation, but right now they're down 6. There is a foul offensive called against, I believe, it's going to be Donwene Anthony, and if that's correct, that is her 4th. No, that's her 5th. Donwene's gone. So Anthony has to leave the floor here for Delta. My mistake, sorry, I should really be more plugged into that. I thought she was still on 3. That was actually Senkia Braxton I was thinking of, who's still on 3, and we haven't seen any of her in the late going. In fact, Senkia Braxton's not... No, there she is. My mistake, I noticed she wasn't on the bench, and for a split second I thought maybe she was ejected, and that was what we heard earlier. Jasmine Kong to inbound, finds Abdelkader. Trina Rathjen pokes it away, last touched by the number 11 in black. And so it will remain DVC ball. Vikings having a hard time trying to get the inbound pass in. 1:26 away from a state final. Hendricks back to Abdelkader, the press coming. She scoots through 2 defenders. Now has Rabina chasing her. Needs to look out and get good talk from her teammates. Back out to Hendricks, 20 to shoot, 1:18 to go. Foul committed by Monette Brown. That's the 3rd. And so a little of this will prevent Delta from winding up in that situation where they have to foul 3 times just to throw DVC to the line. That was number 4. Amani McCrary back in place of Jasmine Kong. Vikings trying to navigate this one home. get the hat trick against Delta, go to 31-1, and qualify to extend their season to the final day. Daisha Abdelkader on the dribble. She goes away from the hoop because there's still 25 on the shot clock, but Sankia Braxton takes it away. It's a smart play, and then suddenly not a great one. Braxton goes all the way in and misses the bunny layup. Zaria Hendricks coming away with it. They're going to try to foul her. Ball pops up in the air, and it's another turnover for DVC. Thrown out to Rabina. Straight on three as she steps into it. Back iron, too strong. Zaria Hendricks the board. She tries to hold on to that. It's a tie-up, and that's going to give the ball back to San Joaquin Delta. 49.7 seconds left. Actually, that seems wrong. Didn't we have a tie-up earlier that went to Delta? Yeah. I wondered for a moment if they neglected to switch the arrow, but the ball will stay right here. It remains a 6-point Viking lead. 49.7 seconds to go. Zaria Hendricks, a big rebound on Rabina's miss, which put all of our hearts into our throats. Substitution time, Monette Brown coming in. If you're looking for three balls here. Oh my goodness, no, they've turned it around. Apparently they've turned it around. I think they made a mistake there on the possession arrow. That is what they're checking on. That was not my imagination. They've given the ball back to the Vikings. All right. So it's an inbound for DVC. Zaria Hendricks to put it in. Amani McCrary moving to get in position for it. She receives, encircled by three players. Falling out of bounds, tries to throw it up, and Lauren Rabina gets it. Gives it to Demps. Three ball, too long. Zaria Hendricks the board, absorbs a foul from Monette Brown. That's going to be 4 on her in just a moment. And that will send DVC to the line. Of course, Hendricks not the one you particularly want to see there. She's shot just 50% from the charity stripe this season. But any opportunity to add to this lead, you'll take. 41.7 seconds from a state final berth. If you're DVC, you're trying to get the ball in the hands of Janae Anderson or Daisha Abdelkader. Those are your best free throw shooters. You'd like them not. Actually, for that matter, Amani McCrary. One of the reasons she's actually a great idea in terms of this, although she's going to be taken out immediately and replaced with Jasmine Kong, so never mind that bit of strategy. Zaria Hendricks hits the first free throw, though. If you heard the cheering in the background, that was cheering tinged green and white. Zaria's second. Off the front iron, not able to get it. Moncrief, a little nudge on Sankia Braxton, and we all get a little nervous. Here comes Delta. Peyton Demps comes to a stop. Sankia Braxton, a three-pointer. That rattles in and out. Would have been the most surprising person to be taking that shot. She has not made a three all season. That was awfully close. Abdelkader the board. She gets to the timeline and is fouled. 27.3 seconds left. And this is somebody you like to see at the line for DVC. She's a good option. Anderson's a good option. Based on recent history, Moncrief is a pretty good option. And honestly, if they just keep making one every time, it's going to be hard for Delta to close the gap in the time they have left. Timeout taken, 27.3 seconds left as DVC continue to sweat this out. Coach Vaughn's told us this team, year in, year out, has had very thin rosters, and we've seen it here. They run just too deep on the bench at the moment. Amani McCrary has seen a lot more minutes in the last two games than she had before due to all the foul trouble that folks have gotten into. Very smart player, robbed of a lot of her athleticism by a pair of injuries, but someone you can count on generally not to make a dumb mistake. There was nothing silly about the turnover that she had earlier. She was just encircled by three defenders. There's not much you can do at that point. Jasmine Kong, who has suffered a bit this postseason trying to get on the scoring sheet. She does have 7 points tonight, 2 for 6. She's made a 3 in the corner, 1 of the 4 she's attempted. And she has been ice cold from the free throw line. And I mean that in the good way. Just ice flowing through her veins. 2 for 2 tonight. If I'm not mistaken, that makes her 8 for 10 so far in the postseason. So that's somebody you can add to that list. Her season stats don't indicate that, but she's certainly grown in that respect. Abdelkader's first, rims out. So you want to try and get one right here. And she will take the second. Vikings up 7, 27.3 seconds to go. She hits the second, and it's an 8-point lead. And that's a big one because even with a 4-point play, you're still looking at a 3-possession game with 23 seconds left. DVC working the trap, trying to force a mistake that would end all doubt. Here's the ball forward now. Jasmine Kong got a touch to it, nearly put it out of bounds. Peyton Demps now working on Zaria Hendricks. Back to Rabina, back to Demps, 13 seconds to go. Working on Hendricks. They need to get something up quickly if they're going to do anything. 8.5 seconds. The DVC bench is celebrating. They know it's almost here. Desperation 3 by Brand, off target. 2 seconds left. It's DVC ball. We're going to take it down to the last day. Number 1 in the North is going to the final, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Vaughn has said it. It's not the most talented team he's ever had, but the chemistry is through the roof. They love each other. They play for each other. It's somebody different every night. Tonight, Daisha Abdelkader with 16, Hendricks with 17, Kong 7 off the bench, and it's in her hands as the clock expires. DVC are going to the state final. We will be right back here tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Mark your calendars. Get it on Google Calendar. Make sure you get an alert. Do something. Don't miss this, Vikings fans. Whoever we get, Moore Park or Merced, it's going to be a matchup of the 2 of the best teams in the state. It's come down now to the 3 teams that have been trading the number 1 ranking all year, which is exactly what you want. And as we said, it's going to be a first-time champion no matter what. Our hope, of course, because we are biased as hell and not afraid to hide from it, is that it be DVC. But they've got 40 more minutes to try to dominate the state of California to make that happen. It has been my pleasure to bring this one to you, Vikings fans. 40 minutes from a dream. Coach Vaughn's Vikings are headed to the state final. Your final score, DVC 67, Delta 59.